The most important task of museum is to judge what's the good art is.
The museum of the 21st century is an idea. I think it should be different in terms of ideas of ownership.
If museums are going to survive as really important centers, they're going to change and adapt and grow with new and different publics. And that means they're going to look different and be different than they have been, and they should be.
A museum is a repository of ideas. We need to maintain a belief in our core values. I think we need to value what we do. By that I mean I don't think we can chase trends.
So I think that there is a certain rootedness that comes from having a space. I would see much more openness, much more willingness to listen, much more willingness to engage in a conversation as opposed to soliloquizing and telling a story.
What we're doing in the museum is to create a meeting place between the art, the artist and the public. More and more participatory, that the audience plays a much more central role in this act of engaging with the art. I think that a more active audience role is generally there in the museum experience, and we have to provide for that. We have to sort of probably keep what's already there, but expand it, be more agile, be open for more types of expressions, different types of encounters. And I'm sure we will have to work outside the building to much larger extent than we've been doing presently.
Having in charge a collection of Asian art, I'm more interested into connections between the different fields of Asian art than real borders. And it is the way the museum is organized now, but we are trying to seek new ways of making connection between the various parts of Asia.
I think the three things I'm looking at, one is the physical museum, the building, the collection. One is the mental museum, the ideas, the art history. Then one is the digital museum, so the online presence, social media. And what we have to do when we're building a 21st century museum is to weave all those together.
The museum is a kind of the activator of the people's life. And also a museum is a place and people gathering. And the museum, the place to a kind of memory of a history.
We should be able to make a kind of different context by inviting the viewer or the viewers to very much unexpected space, which means, the museum is not a place where they can taste like instant food. They should be able to create like a space for the patience. It's a place for like a experience for the deep knowledge, for example.
I think the museum in this century, 21st century, should be the new center for learning, new center for knowledge production.
I think in the 20th century, we've been very taken with best practices. In the 21st century, we will be thinking more about why we need to be different, how each museum is unique.
But museums are going to be vibrant places. I think they're going to be places that only really feel complete when they have their audiences participating, taking part, being present, being part of helping determine what they might do next. We have to make sure that we are removing any last sense that museums might be intimidating or they might be seen as exclusive.
The museum of 21st century needs to be creative and innovative to be relevant in the changing world.
It should be attentive to artists and to audiences, and that's a subtle balance to get right. But when those two are brought together, I think very powerful things happen.